This is the only Orion guide you're ever going to need. We're going to break down the entire process going from Gold, Platinum, Polyatomic to Orion, showing you the easiest and most effective ways for every challenge. Everything's going to be timestamped below so you can find exactly what challenge you're looking for. And if you want to see any more complete guides like this in the future, make sure to subscribe. And if you have to like or comment, I appreciate you a ton. The first thing we need to go over is how the new camo system in Modern Warfare 2 works, because it's a little bit different than what we've seen in the past games. When you first start using a weapon, you're going to have the first base challenge unlocked. There's going to be 4 in total. To get the other 3, you're going to have to rank up the weapon, and after you hit different level milestones, you'll get the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. These are going to be a variety of different challenges for each weapon. Once you complete the challenges for all 4 of these base challenges, you're then going to be able to do the gold challenge for a weapon. This is usually going to be get 2 to 3 kills without dying 10 times. Once you get the gold challenge for a specific number of weapons in a class, you're then going to be able to work on the platinum camo challenge for that class. For most weapons, this is going to require you to get long shots. Then once you've got the platinum challenge for 51 different weapons, you can start grinding the polyatomic camo. And this actually works exactly like it reads off. You just have to get 51 platinum weapons. It doesn't matter what category. So in the future, when there's like 10 DLC weapons, if you really wanted to, you could skip the snipers, you could skip the rocket launchers, and the entire melee category. Because right now there's 3 DLC weapons, but as soon as we get a 4th, you can just not even touch the rocket launchers and still get all of the camos unlocked in this game. Then finally, once you've got the polyatomic camo for 51 different weapons, you're going to unlock the Orion camo. And the way it currently works in game, once you unlock this, you can use it on every weapon, even the weapons you haven't leveled up or even got any camo challenges for. So as soon as new DLC weapons get added, you're just going to be able to use Orion right off the get-go. I get quite a few questions of people asking me what weapon categories they should skip, and that really comes down to personal preference. The rocket launchers are always a great choice. Yes, they're a lot easier in this game than what they were in previous games, but some of the challenges are still just annoying, and a lot of people are going to benefit from just not doing them at all. Same thing, the sniper rifles. If you struggle with those, getting the 3 kills without dying, or any other sniper rifle related challenge, those are a good option to skip. Also, the melee weapons, the riot shield and the combat knife aren't that bad, but some of the challenges are a little bit tedious. However, if there's another weapon class that you struggle with, that's the one you should try to skip. It is going to be harder to skip SMGs, LMGs, and ARs because there's a lot of weapons in those categories, and you are going to have enough DLC weapons to be able to replace those classes. And usually when they add in new DLC weapons, they're going to be ARs and SMGs, so being able to skip those categories might never be possible. In my previous Modern Warfare 2 camo guides, I would go over all the camo challenges for all the weapons. However, that is no longer necessary because if you go in game and hover over a camo challenge, it's going to tell you exactly what to do, regardless if you have the weapon leveled up, regardless if you have the gold camo, the platinum, or the polyatomic. You're going to be able to find out the camo requirement for any weapon by just hovering over the challenge. These are the perks I recommend to use while grinding for Orion. We've got extra tactical. This is for an extra decoy, tracker so you can see where your enemies are moving, fast hands to reload quicker, and quick fix is overall just one of the best perks in the entire game. These first 2 perks can change up quite a bit depending on what you're doing. If you're playing Shoot House and Shipment, you might want to run Bomb Squad just because people are going to be using a ton of explosions, and if you find yourself dying to a bunch of explosions, you might want to switch to this one. And on top of that, as we go into some of the future challenges, there are some perks that are going to help out more than these, but we're going to dive into that later in the video. Something good to know is that punching with the weapon is going to count for the camo challenge. So if you're loading or doing something and someone comes by real quick, if you punch them, that is going to count for the camo challenge. This is extremely important for the rocket launchers. So no, when it says get 50 kills or do this or do that, you don't have to actually shoot the rocket launcher. If you wanted, you could just run around and punch only with it. And that in a lot of cases is actually going to be more effective than shooting it a javelin. You want to make sure you do not have a throwing knife equipped. If you have a throwing knife equipped, you're going to knife with the throwing knife instead, and that's not going to count for your camo progression. Something also really helpful for the rocket launchers or any weapon you're struggling with, I recommend using them start to finish, because since there's SBMM in this game, if you're running around punching only with a javelin, you're not going to be doing good, meaning your next lobby is going to be easier, and your next lobby is going to be easier, and eventually the game's going to put you in a lobby easy enough where you can finish the javelin in no time. And this also obviously works with any other weapon challenge you're struggling with. Now, before you can start grinding the camo challenges, the first and most annoying thing you have to do is level up the weapon. This is the most tedious part of the entire camo grind. The most important thing to note while leveling up your weapons, any action you perform that rewards player XP is also going to be applied to the weapon in your hand. So using this, there's quite a few methods you could level up your weapon. The most effective effective method for normal MP matches is to play the objective. If you're playing kill confirm, prioritize the tags. This is going to get you a ton of XP. If you're playing hardpoint, try to get kills while on the hardpoint. This is going to get you defender and attacker medals, making it really easy to get a bunch of XP. If you're playing Dom, do the same thing. Also, you want to be running decoys. If you just spam down 3 separate decoys every time you spawn in, you're going to get a ton of weapon XP for your weapon. Also, using the DDoS field upgrade. This is going to disable a bunch of different stuff around you, and you're going to get a bunch of free XP every time you call in this field upgrade. Playing Invasion and farming all of the bots you can find is another amazing way to level up your weapons. If you find a decent spawn point in the back of the map that a lot of other people aren't around, you can just sit there and continuously kill these bots, and you can level up your weapon extremely quickly. Playing DMZ is also another amazing way to level up your weapons. Killing a bunch of bots around the map with your weapon is going to get you XP. Doing contracts are going to get you XP. Also, exfilling with that weapon is going to get you a ton of XP. This also works in Warzone. If you're playing Warzone, you get your loadout weapon. If you just go and do a bunch of contracts, you'll get a crazy amount of XP for the weapon that's in your hand. The first base challenge for every weapon is just getting kills with the weapon. I'm almost positive we don't need to cover that in this guide. One of the other challenges you're going to find on a lot of weapons is ADS kills. Once again, extremely self-explanatory, but if you are having issues with that, spec your weapon for ADS and then just kind of pre-aim around corners. Very simplistic. Getting kills while crouched is a very easy but annoying challenge. Pretty much you could just crouch around the entire map, or you could crouch right before you turn a corner. That's how I get most of mine. On smaller maps like Shipment and Shoot House, it shouldn't take too long to get this done. Yes, mounted kills are back. Everyone's favorite camo challenge has returned once again. Luckily in this game, you don't need a ton of them, and there are a few things to make them way easier. Shoot House is in the map, and this map has so many good spots to, mount on. You can mount right here whenever this is an objective. You can also come over here in this spot. There's a lot of people who come through here, get a bunch of mounted kills in this spot. You can also jump up here to get the mounted spots as well. However, I'd be careful because if an enemy's using a sniper, they're going to take you out really easy. Also, deployable cover. This makes it where you can get mounted kills in pretty much any location. So these right here are going to count as mounted kills while mounted up on the shield. And if you put a bipod on your weapon, you're also going to be able to mount up on the ground. This makes it pretty much viable on any map. It does require a little bit of camping, but some of these challenges are just going to require that. But let's say there was an objective point right here. And there wasn't this. We could just lay down and mount up. And that's the easiest way to go about this. Whatever mode you're playing, try to stay around the objective and just find a spot to sit, be mounted up on, and you'll get these done super quickly. The most annoying weapon class to get the mounted kills with is going to be the shotguns. With this, you have one of two options. You can either camp really close range, or you can put slugs on like that and just use it like a normal weapon. Or if we wanted to, we could not put on slugs and just sit here and camp like this near an objective with a shield. And if anyone turns this corner, they're going to have a really hard time taking us out. Boop. Getting kills while prone is very easy. All you want to do is find an objective, lay down, and wait near it. Or other high trafficked areas, or you could always do the tried and true method of drop shotting. Yep, just like this. Boom and boom. However, if you are struggling to do this challenge with snipers, you might be better off just sitting in the back of the map, laying down and sniping. Getting kills in one shot is a challenge you're going to find for some of the sniper rifles, marksman rifles, and shotguns. For the most part, this should be pretty easy. You're not going to have to worry about this challenge. However, that being said, if there's a specific one you're struggling with and you're getting a lot of hit markers and you're not getting those one-shot kills, you could always try tier 1 to make it a little bit easier. Some of the pistols are going to require you to get Akimbo kills. This is extremely easy. Put on the Akimbo attachment, spec the weapon for Hipfire, then play a small map like Shoot House or Shipment. The Hipfire Camo Challenge is another one of the really easy ones. All you want to do is spec the weapon for movement speed, hipfire accuracy, and put a larger magazine on. If you do this and play small maps like Shoot House and Shipment, you should get this done almost instantly. Now, this challenge does get a little bit harder when we talk about snipers. Yes, there are some snipers in the game that are going to require you to get hipfire kills. This sounds really hard, but it's not going to be that bad. It's only going to require you to get 10, and if you go through and build your sniper to have the best hipfire accuracy, look through all the attachments, any attachments that increases the hipfire accuracy, slap it on, you'd be surprised how far you can shoot enemies away, still getting these hipfire one-shot one kills. And if you're playing a small map like Shoot House or Shipment, it should only take 1 or 2 games at the end of the day. Getting kills while using a suppressor couldn't be any more straightforward. Just choose any muzzle attachment that says it does sound suppression and you're going to be good to go. Getting kills from behind is one of the camo challenges people seem to struggle with the most. However, this one really isn't that bad. If you play ground war, spawn in the helicopter, jump out, look for rooftop campers, and land right behind them, you can easily get kills from behind with any weapon in the entire game. This is what I did for both the riot shield and the knife, and that's the one people seem to struggle with the most, but it also works with all the other weapons. If that's not working for you, you can also play domination and flank around towards the enemy points, and you'll easily be able to find a bunch of enemies running in a different direction, making it really easy to get kills from behind. If you're doing that method, I would recommend Dead Silence. Point blank kills is another camo challenge a lot of people struggle with. However, if you spec your weapon for max movement speed, when you're going through the attachments, put on anything that says it's going to give you more sprint speed, more movement speed, and hipfire accuracy is another good one. Then you go into a small map like Shoot House and Shipment, and then just run at the enemies. You'll get this done in 1 or 2 games. If you're still struggling with it, you can camp in buildings, wait for people to come through the door. Also, playing the objective on hardpoint, tons of people are going to rush for that hardpoint. Just wait for them to come in a door and then take them out, and you'll get this done in no time. And for our final base challenges, we have double kills and 2 kills within 10 seconds. I'm going to lump these together because they're pretty much the same thing. 2 kills within 10 seconds is just a little bit longer than a normal double kill. For this, it's really simple. If you play smaller maps like Shoot House and Shipment, you're going to find a bunch of people clustered together. And if you go for the objective, whether it be a dom point or a hard point, you're going to find lots of people close together in those areas, making it really simple. If you're still struggling, you can try tier 1. It's going to take less bullets to kill an enemy, so you should be able to get a double kill slightly easier. But for me personally, I'm going to stick to Shoot House and Shipment on this one. Now that you've finished the base challenges for a weapon, you can start working on the Gold Camo Challenge. The Gold Camo Challenge for every weapon in the entire game is going to be getting 3 kills or 2 kills without dying a certain number of times. This one's not too bad, but I do see some people struggling with it. If you're a more experienced player, I'd recommend playing Shoot House and Shipment. If you're able to constantly get that amount of kills without dying over and over again, it's only going to take you 1 to 2 games on this mode. However, if you're playing the smaller maps and you're just not able to get it done, I'd recommend searching in a normal playlist, searching for Dom and Hardpoint, any mode that's got objectives like that, and then just staying back, watching the point, and slowly picking people off as they go for it. And if you have to, there's no shame in just camping to finish these off. Once you get your 2 kills, just stay back and wait to get the final person, even if you've just got to lock down 1 single room with a single entrance point. Now, this is going to be a little bit harder for snipers. I know a lot of people do struggle with these. Snipers have a really big advantage on ground war, so if you've been playing the normal core modes and you've been playing the smaller maps and snipers just aren't doing it for you, you could always hop into ground war and finish that. Now, one that people are going to struggle with are the rocket launchers and the melee weapons. Luckily, they've made it so you only have to get 2 kills without dying for both these classes. The melee weapons are going to be really easy. If you take the riot shield or the combat knife into Shoot House or Shipment, you should be able to get the 2 kills without dying multiple times per game. The rocket launchers are going to be a little bit more tedious. You do have enough bullets where if you get 1 kill per shot, you can get both of them out of the way. But keep in mind, as long as you're not running a throwing knife, after you use all your ammo, you can run around and punch with the rocket launcher, and that is going to count. If you get 1 kill by shooting someone with it and then you punch someone, that's going to count. That's what I did for the javelin. I would spam it on a hard point or a domination point, and then while it's up in the air traveling down, I would then go around the map and look for someone to punch. If the rocket comes down and takes out 2 people, great. If not, if it took 1 person out, you can punch the other person. Once you've unlocked enough gold weapons in a weapon class, you can start working on the Platinum Camo Challenge. For any weapon with attachments, which is going to be most of the weapons in the game, this is going to require long shots. This is where people struggle with the most out of the entire camo grind, so we're going to break down this as best as I can. I highly recommend you unlock 1, if not both of these reticles before you start grinding for long shots. These reticles are actually going to let you know the distance of what you're aiming at. That way, you're going to make sure the long shot counts before you even start firing. The first one is the X10 Angel 40. This is unlocked from the TAC-M Marksman rifle at level 11. The second one, which is my preferred one, is the Angel 40 4.X, and this is unlocked from the Rail LMG at level 6. Very simple to get. All you got to do is go in 1 game with the Rail LMG, and you should be able to unlock this sight. Now, when it comes to the class setup, we're not going to be talking about attachments right now. We'll cover that when we go over each different type of weapon class. The tactical grenade doesn't matter. Your lethal isn't going to matter. Perks, it doesn't matter a whole lot, but usually I like to run quick fix because it's super helpful. Fast hand so you can reload a little bit quicker, and the base perks don't matter whatsoever. The only thing you want to make sure you have on for your field upgrade, you want to make sure you have deployable cover, and munitions box isn't a bad idea just in case you run out of ammo. The reason I recommend the deployable cover is because most of the spots you can get long shots at, you can place this down, and this is going to give you a really easy head glitch that you can even mount on, giving you a little bit of advantage when you're using this going for long shots. The most obvious long shot spot on any map is here on Shoot House. Everyone knows if you jump up here, you can mount down, and you're going to find other enemies going for long shots up top, and you're also going to find some enemies here. Depending on what type of weapon you're working on, you can even get some in this range as well. Overall, very solid. Unfortunately, as it stands right now, there's no hardcore shoot house, so you do have to play this one in core. Also, if you come over here on this side of the map, you're actually going to be able to get long shots as people come through this area. Now, if you're not playing shoot house, I recommend playing tier 1 hard point. This is because enemies are going to group up on the point, and it's more easy to predict where enemies are going to be. On the map Fortress, this is going to be a pretty good spot for long shots because there's going to be a point right there that you're going to be able to pick people off of. There's also going to be another point right over here. Once again, you're going to be able to pick people off of it. The spot over here also works in reverse. Then you can also pick people off coming from this way. I don't recommend playing hotel for long shots, but one spot you can get him is here, and another spot's going to be over here. On Raceway, you've got this spot right here, and you've also got this line of sight over here. Once again, both of these can be used in reverse. On a silo, you've got line of sights all over on this side, and you've got a bunch of line of sights on this map. Once again, these work in reverse. Los Alamos is probably the best map in the entire game for long shots. This line of sight is really good. Pretty much any weapon's going to get easy long shots. Obviously, you can do it from the other side as well. It is possible to get long shots on border crossing. However, I'm just going to recommend you skip this map. The cars make it an absolute nightmare. Tarq's actually pretty good for long shots. I'm not going to give specific spots on this map. What you want to do is play hard point, and if the hard point's over here, you want to back up and find a range you're going to be able to get long shots, and this works with any other spot on the map. Let's say the hard point's over in this area. What you're going to do is back up, kind of watch the hard point from a certain distance where you're going to be able to get long shots. And I mean, you can make it work on pretty much any hardpoint location on this map. Embassy is a great map for getting long shots. This line of sight's very helpful. This spot also works very well. If the hardpoint's back here, you can get a ton of easy long shots in this spot. Then this spot's also really good. You can even mount up on this spot to make it a little bit easier to hit the shots. Farm's got a couple good long shot spots. The first one being right here. The next one's in the top of this building right here, overlooking this area. Then this rooftop's also a pretty good spot as well, giving you multiple line of sight. And finally, we've got Hydroelectric, and this is another map that's great for long shots. This spot works really well because there's a hard point here. Then if you're doing this line of sight in reverse, lay down right here and you'll get tons of people who cross this area. Then you can also come up here and there's a hard point spot right here, so you'll be able to get some easy long shots. So first, let's go over the best way to get long shots for the ARs, the battle rifles, and the LMGs. I'm lumping these three classes of weapons together because all the tips are going to be the exact same for all of them, and all three of these weapons require 38 meters exactly to count for a long shot. Now, when it comes to the attachments on these weapons, what you want to look out for is positive bullet velocity. That's what's going to help you the most. And then when you go to tune it, you're going to make sure you put the bullet velocity all the way up. That one doesn't allow it. But for the muzzle here, we put bullet velocity all the way right on the slider. We also put down a little bit of aim down sight speed because, you know, this muzzle's already going to make it kind of slow. We put the high velocity rounds on, and then bullet velocity all the way up. Same thing, damage range all the way up. You want to make sure you have the optics on we were talking about earlier, but that's the main thing you want to look for. Maybe a little bit of recoil control would help as well, but bullet velocity should be what you're specking for the most. The best strategy for getting long shots with the ARs, battle rifles, and LMGs is going to be tier 1 hardpoint. I'm not going to recommend shoot house right now because there's no tier 1 24/7 version of shoot house, but if you're watching this in the future and there is a tier 1 24/7 version of shoot house, play that instead. But when it comes to core, you're going to get wrecked in that middle line of sight if someone's using a sniper or a marksman rifle. So with these, hopping into tier 1 hardpoint actually works extremely well. The worst part about tier 1 is you're actually not going to have any hit markers. There's no kill feed. So the only way you actually know if you're going to end up killing someone is going to be the noise you get when you get that. And on top of that, there's no medals. So it's not going to tell you if you did get a long shot. That's where this reticle comes in super handy. Make sure the line of sight you're looking down is at least 38 meters. That way you're guaranteeing you get the long shot. But it's really simple. All you want to do is look at all the locations we showed at the beginning of this video, pre-aim around corners, and just spam in these locations. And you should be able to get each one of these weapons done in 1 to 2 games. Next, let's go over the sniper rifles and the marksman rifles. A marksman rifle only needs 38 meters to get a long shot, whereas a sniper needs 50 meters to get a long shot. When it comes to the attachments for these weapons, we're going to build it quite a bit differently. We're not going to mainly be looking for bullet velocity. The biggest thing for me on these is going to be aim down sight speed. So when we go to tune it, we're going to put aim down sight speed all the way here and aim walking speed. I usually do put on a bigger barrel, one that's going to increase the damage range and bullet velocity, but pretty much all the other attachments have stuff to do with the aim down sight speed. And I'm not putting on the optic that I recommended for the other ones. This, you really don't need to know the distance because we're going to be playing a map where we're going to guarantee we get it anyway. The best strategy for getting long shots with the sniper rifles and the marksman rifles is to play core shoot house and use the middle of the map area. This area has a huge advantage for snipers and marksman rifles, so there's people on the enemy team trying to get long shots with ARs, LMGs, any of that. You're easily going to be able to farm them and rack up a ton of kills. The unfortunate part is if there's not people jumping up on this ledge, you're not going to get a lot of long shots, because if you're killing people in the middle area, that's not going to be the 50 meters needed to get the long shot. However, there is a trick you can do to help out a little bit. If you back up some and place a deployable cover, you can jump on it, and doing this, you're going to have a little bit of extra range to get some extra long shots. However, now you got to jump and shoot, and you do have to wait for the deployable cover to recharge. If this isn't working for you, sniper rifles and marksman rifles are also really good in ground war, so you can try that as well. However, I would rebuild your sniper to have more damage range and more bullet velocity if you are going to be doing it in ground war. Next, we have SMGs, and these only require 30 meters for a long shot. Now, for the attachments on the SMGs, we're going to follow the same principles we did for the ARs. We're mainly going to be looking for bullet velocity, and when we tune it, we're going to make sure the damage range and the bullet velocity is what gets tuned all the way to the very end. So right here, got bullet velocity maxed out. The fastest method to get long shots for the SMGs is once again going to be tier 1 hardpoint. However, this time we don't need to get kills at 38 meters. We only need to get kills at 30 meters, which really isn't that big of a distance. If you just look at the hardpoint and kind of back up using the scope that we talked about earlier, you're going to be able to judge these distances, and you'll be able to get these done really quickly. I wouldn't recommend sitting and camping in one spot like we did for the ARs, the LMGs, and the battle rifles, because there's so many different options you have available to you, since it's only going to require that 30-meter distance. Pistols only require 20 meters for a long shot. For the attachments you want to run on pistols, normally I don't run an optic, but some people might find that helpful. I always make sure I have the fastest fire rate option available, so the Deagle has a fire rate option, so I'm going to put that on. Other than that, I usually spec it for 80 SP. The damage range isn't going to matter too much since we're only going to 20 meters. When it comes to getting long shots on pistols, it really doesn't matter what you play. Since it's only 20 meters to get a long shot, it doesn't matter what map, what mode, all of that's going to be possible. And same thing, when it comes to core tier 1, I find both of them good options. And finally, for our last weapon class, shotguns only require 12.5 meters for a long shot. And this is actually really easy as long as you put on slug rounds, because slug rounds allow you to shoot people up to like 80 meters. So getting a 12-meter shot is extremely easy with this. Besides that, putting on damage range attachments, you can use an optic for shotguns, but usually I just use the iron sights because 12.5 meters is not that far whatsoever. For the rest of the attachments, it doesn't matter too much. ADS speed, whatever you're struggling with the most. But usually I put on a barrel that does damage range, and then I'd usually put on, a choke that also did damage range as well. And once again, the recommended method for getting long shots for shotguns really doesn't matter too much. You can play core, you can play hardcore. They all work pretty well. I'd personally recommend Shoot House just because since it's a small map, you're going to get a lot of engagements, and a lot of the engagements you play on Shoot House are going to be over 12.5 meters as long as you step back just a little bit. Now, moving on to the Platinum Camo Challenge for the rocket launchers, this is going to require you to destroy kill streaks, equipment, or vehicles with the rocket launcher. The amount you have to destroy depends on the rocket launcher. The Platinum Challenge is going to be extremely easy for both the P-Law and the JOKR, mainly because it locks on. So if we go to ground war or invasion, if you look up in the sky, we just started and there's already 2. We have only got to get 15 of these. Oh, and look at that. And yeah, there's a third one. And the best part about invasion is there's ammo boxes everywhere. Ground war still has ammo boxes, but not near as many as invasion. So yeah, as you can see, we spawned in, already got 2. This is about to be our 3rd. Then there's a 4th, and this will go on nonstop. For the JOKR, you've got to be a little bit more on top of the ball. As soon as it says enemy UAV inbound, you immediately need to look out for it because this one takes a lot longer. And if you wait till the UAV's been there for a minute, someone else is either going to steal it from you or the UAV is going to go away. Because look at it, the rocket is still flying, and now it is just now deciding to go. So if someone with the P-Law decided to take that UAV from me, I didn't stand a chance to get it. You don't have to just destroy UAVs. There's a lot of other vehicles around the map that also count, but UAVs to me seem to be the most quickest and effective way because they're all over the place on invasion and ground war. Now the RPG and the Strela are going to be a little bit harder because yes, it is definitely possible to take out UAVs. If you're like me and not accurate, you're going to struggle a lot with it. You can try to hit normal vehicles, but for the most part, the vehicles travel too fast and it takes way too many shots with an RPG. I don't really find this super viable either. The easiest kill streak to take down with these non-lock-on rocket launchers are going to be counter UAVs and VTOLs. These fly really low to the ground. The VTOLs take quite a few shots, so we're going to have to use an ammunition box. Come on, please don't steal this from me, teammate, but some people will steal these from you. There we go. Those are the easiest 2 aerial streaks to destroy with these. For both the RPG and the Strela, I found the best way to go about getting these is just play normally. Grind with whatever other weapon class you're working with, and while using spotter, oh, it disappeared. I took too long recording lip. But whenever you see a trip mine, a C4, or a claymore on the ground, go out of your way to destroy it. Now, there's a chance you might go many games in a row without seeing any. However, once you see one on the ground in a game, it probably means you're gonna find another one. So if we go around for a little bit, we should be able to find another one of those. All right, so luckily, since it's RPG, we can just shoot it there, and guess what? We just got 2 of them. And before I started recording this clip, that guy's also placed down 4 or 5 more. So the lobbies you do get in where people are using these mines, you should be able to get 5 to 8 per game. And playing modes like free-for-all, domination, and hardpoint definitely increase your chances. Now, for some reason, field upgrades don't count for this challenge. So if you see ammo boxes on the ground, trophy system, any sort of field upgrade just isn't going to count for this challenge. So if you keep killing a bunch of stuff on the ground and the numbers aren't going up, that means you're probably destroying a field upgrade. So with that, everything we're about to read off isn't going to count for this challenge. The tactical camera, the inflatable decoy, the deployable cover, the trophy system, the munitions box, the portable radar, the tactical insertion, the recon drone, the smoke airdrop, the suppression mine, and the anti-armor rounds. All of those will not count at all for this challenge. There are, however, a few kill streaks that are going to be on the ground that do count, this being the cluster mine, the sentry gun, and the Wilson. I can't remember the last time I saw any of these in game though. Then for the melee weapons, the Platinum Challenge is just going to be getting 2 kills within 10 seconds. This is extremely easy. If you do need help with it though, go back to the beginning of the video when we talked about double kills. Use the same exact strategy for this. Now for the final part, the Polyatomic Challenge. Once you've gotten to this point, you're pretty much done with the entire grind. This doesn't take long at all. For every weapon with attachments, which is going to be almost all the weapons in the game, you just have to get headshots. This is daunting for some people, but this is the type of challenge where the first 6 weapons are going to take you a while, but after you finish those, you're going to be a lot better at aiming for headshots and getting headshots, and you're going to see the amount of headshots you're getting per game go way up. So it starts off slow, but towards the end, you're going to be finishing almost an entire weapon per game. My tips for this is you want to build the weapon to have a fast ADS time so you can quickly aim directly at someone's head. Also, playing small maps like Shoot House and Shipment, if you just pre-aim around corners, you're going to find a lot of people to get easy headshots on. Look for people not moving on objective points, so hard point and dom points. You're going to see people stationary there. And tier 1's actually really good for grinding headshots as well. You get an increased headshot multiplier when playing in tier 1, so most of the weapons are only going to take 1 bullet, whereas they're still going to take 3 or 4 to the body. So if you're struggling in the normal modes, try to play tier 1. However, unless they add tier 1 to Shoot House and Shipment, I'd recommend just staying in the smaller modes for the more engagements per game. But if they do add a tier 1 Shoot House and Shipment, that is going to be insanely quick for getting a ton of headshots. And one additional tip for getting headshots with shotguns, if you're using slugs, you want to aim directly at their head. However, if you're using the default ammo type, you know, you're using the buckshot, you want to aim a little bit above their head. Since it's a giant spread, you want to make sure the bottom end of that spread is hitting their head with a few of the middle ones. And I find aiming just a tiny bit above their head leads to getting more headshots when using buckshot on a shotgun. The Polyatomic Challenge for the rocket launchers is going to be double kills. People find this to be one of the most annoying challenges while trying to get Orion, and this is one of the reasons I kind of recommend to skip the rocket launchers. Playing smaller maps are your best bet. Shoot House and Shipment. If they ever add a tier 1 version of this playlist in the future, that's going to be really good for it. Other than that, playing hardpoint is extremely helpful for the JOKR. Essentially just call in your JOKR missile on the hardpoint, and a lot of times you'll get the double kills that way. That's how I got most of my double kills for the JOKR. You can also punch enemies with it. 2 punch kills will count for a double kill, or shooting someone with the rocket and then punching someone right after is also going to count for the double kill. So if you stay on those smaller maps or just play hardpoint and focus on finding people on the point, that's the quickest way to get it done. It's still going to be kind of annoying, but overall you should be able to get it done without too much wasted time. Then finally we have the Polyatomic Challenge for the melee weapons. This is to get kills from behind. We're going to do the same strategy we described earlier. You want to play ground war, jump out of the helicopter and look for rooftop campers. If that's not working too well for you, play domination, flank around to the enemy points and find people from behind. It's really simple. This one's only going to take a couple of games. So that's it. That's everything you know about unlocking the Orion camo here in Modern Warfare 2. If there's anything you use that helped you out that I didn't list in this video, make sure to leave it in the comments to help some more additional people out. I know this video was fairly long, but I wanted to cover absolutely everything, and I wanted to make sure this video wasn't going to be outdated a week from now. So if you did like this video and you want to see more guides like this, make sure to sub to the channel. If you left a like or comment, I appreciate it a ton, because this has been a long working project that we are finally done with. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.